It's May, and one thing is absolutely certain. You have to do everything in your power to maximize this guy and not see this guy ever again. That is the Chiefs' goal. Everybody in that building, everyone in that organization is going the same way, and so are we. Let's get after it. Welcome to RGR Football. Welcome in, everybody. It's Monday night. You know what that means. We're going to answer your questions as we hit that part where the newest version of the Chiefs starts to just bubble and become what it's going to be. He's Dan Harms. I'm Ryan Tracy. You know what we do. We're looking forward to this next evolution. And I say it every year, but I'm going to say it again. Every 53 is different. It doesn't matter if like 38 of them are there from last year. Every single 53 is different. And this is no different from that concept. We're going to talk about all of it. We're going to answer your questions. We got a ton of them in there already. Thank you very much. Make sure you like, sub, and hit the bell if you haven't found us yet. This is what we do all year long, pretty much constantly. So we'll jump right into it. Dan, there can't be any other way around it. Do you think that the team agrees with the way we're handling this right now?
You know, I think that this has to be exactly what we've talked about, right? It feels like that's what they want to do. And what I mean by that is, in the past, Brett Veach has said, we won't let this happen again, right after the 2020 Super Bowl. They did. And they honestly, they kind of should have known it was going to happen to an extent this past year, because there was no fail-safe. There was two, and again, I want you guys to understand that I'm allowed to know about my guy in Kingsley and how I was high on him coming out, and that didn't work. Didn't work. Now, to whether it's whose fault it is, guess what? We're probably never going to find out. Okay, the Chiefs have decided he's going to be a guard. Which, okay, if you would have told me that last year, I think I would have been fine.
Yeah.
Okay, but overall, you have to remember that the plan of attack this year, they have starters. They have real options as backups. Real options, okay? I think Kingsley might be better on the right-hand side anyway, but also you have a year of offseason development. Maybe he's going to get his head out of his you-know-what. But you have Josh Simmons, who appears to be ahead of schedule. And then you bring in, not bring in, but we talked about the transition from left tackle to left guard for Kingsley, and how you had Tracy Smith. So it feels like they have the backups and the offensive starters in line that they want. Now they have the weapons, right? Last year, you can attribute some of this to injury, right? Where Hollywood Brown goes out on the first play of the preseason. Well, shit. What do we do now? Rashee Rice gets hurt against the Chargers before the bye week. What do we do now? Right? You got to knock on wood a little bit here. But injury luck is random. You don't really know what's going to happen. The Chiefs didn't have great injury luck last year. You can't count on it every year. But it feels like the Chiefs have put themselves in a position where they say, okay, this year, if it doesn't work, it might not necessarily be the plan, might be more of the execution. The players that you specifically are identifying to bring in are not working anymore, and it might be time to change direction. But I think they put themselves in a position to say, look, we give ourselves the best chance now to win and in the future. And that is the best course of action that we've seen in a few years with young players at wide receiver. They've drafted a ton of young, talented players in the offensive line to go forward. So I think they're in a spot where we can say that we're confident that they're in the position to be in the Super Bowl again next year, whether or not whatever happens with injuries, you know?
Well, and I like what you bring up there, because that's kind of thing. You can look at this team, and the Niners have been to 2 Super Bowls in a 6-year span, right? Obviously, the Eagles have been to a couple as well. Chiefs have been on a tear.
Yeah.
But those 3 organizations have found ways to not reload and not to break everything down, to maybe work on your foundation, shore it up, and add on top, and add those little things. I really feel like that's the uniqueness of this team, this organization, that has to continue to go forward. What do we have?
We agree with you. We agree.
Oh, okay. I would prefer that he played no matter what. Yeah, we're absolutely.
We agree.
There's no substitution. Back when I was a musician, the easiest way to do it is one performance is worth 3 rehearsals. It's the easiest way to acclimate it, and I think it's true for sports of all kinds as well. Like actual contests against an opponent is more than just what you're able to do against your teammates. I don't know if it's just the competitive nature of what sport is, or if it's something different, if it's the adrenaline factor. But if you're not on the field against the opponent, I think it slows your progression. There's no obvious answer for me.
Yeah, I'm with you. And we talked about this like a ton in real time, how this was not a good decision to make. And because the Chiefs felt pressured to three-peat, it may have forced their hand a little bit with what they thought they had to do. Now, I again don't agree with it. And I don't think that it was the best course of action on a second-round pick. Hopefully you can salvage that and he can be a starter at left guard for a long time, possibly right tackle, if you can play your cards right and not destroy his confidence. But overall, you're putting yourself in a position now where hopefully you get the best out of no matter what happens.
Yeah, I completely agree. And I see a lot of scenarios that can go forward. We can get into those tonight, or we can just wait, because the tackles and left guard situation, there's a lot of different combinations we could see in the next 24 months. It could change multiple times. But that's the way we see it tonight. We're going to get to your questions. You guys run this show. We just provide the content. So ask away. Put question marks in front of your questions if you would. We'll try to get to all your topics. If you want on the show tonight, hit the super chats. It'll guarantee you a slot here on the show, and you'll be on screen. We know we already have some in here. We appreciate you guys. So Minotaur, one of our biggest advocates, longtime member, and the giver of free memberships. When you get one, be very, very thankful. Good to see you too, buddy. Let's say that the plan works out perfectly. Good protection, great wide receivers, and tight end production. And Brashard Smith is a difference maker. How many yards for 15? What do you think yardage-wise?
I don't think we're going to see those numbers again. I know everyone wants to go back. Defenses are different. It's different now. It's not the same. The reason he was able to do that, because they could throw the ball downfield at will, and it didn't matter because defenses were single high. It was just pick your poison. You run that way, you run that way. Whoever's not covered, whoever's one-on-one, I'm taking a shot. It's not that way anymore. I think best case scenario, you have a run game that's actually lethal, so the yards just come down, but the touchdown numbers and the interceptions go down. Like the interceptions go down, touchdowns go up. I think that we talk about 4,700 yards. Again, lots of yards after catch. The deep ball does come back to an extent, but we're not talking 5,000, because I just don't think that that's where this team needs to be looking to go. If it happens, that's fantastic. It'd be great. But I think we're in the realm of like 40, 45 touchdowns with 4,500 yards. I think that's probably what you're talking about if best case scenario plays out.
Yeah, because if that best case scenario happens, there's balance. And Brashard Smith, yes, some of those should be, if he were to hit, should be, catch reception yards out of the backfield with a ton of yak, right? But if they're going to try to do what he's been in recent memory and try to get him into the tailback rotation, success there takes away from success on the yardage total for Mahomes. So I agree with you. I think it's more sustainable to keep the touchdown, particularly the touchdown interception ratio where it is, or improve that. The total yardage, I don't know. That's a toss-up. And I really like what you said here, Minotaur, about not just great wide receiver, but tight end production too, because I think that's maybe the thing where they can take the leap. I think teams are probably going to come out in the same cover 3 and cover 4 concepts to try to keep everything in front of them, like we've seen the last couple of years. And that's where not just Travis, but Travis and Noah, and I think Brendan Stool is going to be part of this, and I hope that Wiley is too. And that's where you can actually make that and force them out of those too high, deep cover zones, get them out of sticks, make them come confront you. You run the ball on top of that, and then you're going to get your one-on-one matchups. You're going to get your single highs, and that's where it all starts to click. So it's a process. We're going to have to see how it goes. But thank you, Minotaur. Cheers to you, buddy. And Swag Boy, thank you. I'm not trying to be negative, okay? But I don't see this offense being explosive. The past 2 seasons have not been explosive. I don't see that changing. Well, you have to, I think, separate your definition of what explosive is. Tyreek Hill explosion is not coming back unless you get Tyreek Hill back. That's it. And even if you did, I'm not sure he can do, I know he's put up a ton of yards. He's a little more injury prone. Maybe he could put up another season like that. Maybe a reunion year could produce one more like epic. I guess I shouldn't put it past him. But I will say this. I think the goal is to have more 10-plus yard runs and more 15-plus yard passes. I still consider that explosive because you're one missed tackle away from cutting it into 40. You know what I mean? So it won't be giant chunks, but hopefully it'll be more chunks. Does that make sense?
It's got to be a shift in the way you view explosive. Like Ryan said, it's not the 2018, 2019, 2020 explosive where we are throwing the ball air yards 50-plus down the field. We're talking about more 20-plus yards after catch or 15-yard runs, hitting some creases with your running backs and being able to actually exploit them, and taking Rashee Rice, who was an explosive guy. Like, he was an explosive playmaker his rookie year. He was doing that last year too. Those are just different views on how explosive can be. I understand, obviously, negativity is kind of inherent when the deep ball hasn't been what we expect it to be. But I think we all have to alter our perception and our expectations of the word explosive and just change that definition a little bit to really accept what this version of the Chiefs can be and what defenses are trying to force everybody in the NFL to do.
And I'll go you one further. I know some of you right now are having that reaction like, no, you're just making excuses for them. They're just not as good. This is what we call eras in ball. The pendulum is coming back. The run game is coming back. In fact, I'm going to have an episode on Locked On Chiefs. I'm doing a solo for tomorrow. Tune into that because the era of football, even in the AFC West, everybody wants to run the ball to keep it out of Patrick's hands. Like, the run game is coming back, and that cuts down a number of reps, number of targets, number of deep shots. It's all balanced. And so I think what's really going to be interesting is when we look back on Patrick, on his career in particular, obviously there'll be all these guys around him, and we're going to have the what do you call that? We're going to have the AD or AT with Travis and the post-Travis year, right?
Yeah.
Like, there's going to be multiple eras. But I do think this is the beginning of a swing towards another era of football that is not all pass deep, So I do think we have to keeping it relative to where we're at. It makes sense. Spike Boy's got another one. This one's for you. Do you think that if Mahomes has a third season in a row of only throwing 25 touchdowns and 4K, it would be time to say that he's officially regressed?
Oof. I think if he does it again, that means that Andy Reid's continuing to have a problem on this type of iteration of the Chiefs offense. I'll be honest. I don't think that Patrick has allowed himself to be his full quarterbacking person. And some of that has to do with Andy Reid kind of coaching him down to an extent. When you do change the offense to this yards after catch stuff and try to get the ball out quickly, you kind of change the DNA of who Patrick Mahomes is. Now, he's gotten to the point where he's still the most efficient quarterback in the NFL, specifically on third downs. Last year, he was the best quarterback on third downs. End of story. There wasn't a conversation about it. It's more about the first and second down stuff where getting the football out, it's not what he wants to do. It's not what he should have to do. We've talked about how this play's open. Let him get to it. But either you need to get the ball out now, or the offensive line's not holding up, or maybe he has to hold it a tick longer than he wants to get the ball down the field. There's a lot that goes into it. But I think I won't say Mahomes specifically. I'll say this iteration of the offense is just not cutting it, and it needs to change.
Yeah, you have to adapt more than just, I have these other things that I used to do. The problem with a coach of Andy's age is he's seen it all. He can understand what the defense is trying to take away. He's like, I'll just go do this instead. Right. Well, this instead doesn't look as good to the rest of us. And that's okay as long as it gets W's. When it doesn't work in Super Bowls, then you have problems. And so I think what they've put together is a way to combat that while still waiting for their opportunity. They're like a sniper waiting for somebody to stick their face out. Okay. It's that they can't take a shot that's not there is basically what I'm saying. And I think that's what it feels like to me.
I will say other teams have still found success throwing the ball down the field against the same looks the Chiefs are getting. And it's because they allow their quarterback to take those shots. Look at Jaden Daniels last year. He was explosive down the field against the same types of looks. Now, obviously, his running threat is different, but if you allow the quarterback to throw the football into windows, they are smaller, true, but they're there. If you actually let it happen, then you can find ways to exploit that. And then defenses are like, oh, well, what do we do now?
Right.
We can't keep you force them to play a different game throughout the game. And I think that we see so much of Andy Reid just try nickel and dime instead of actually trying to aggressively attack some of these defenses to get chunk plays down the field against them, that it's forced Patrick into a situation where even in situations where maybe he's given the freedom to do so, it's just become so much muscle memory where he's just doing it and doing it and doing it.
And I think that feeds into why the fan base is always pushing every draft cycle for that big, fast 50-50 ball winner to put into this offense so you can throw into minuscule windows and try to force him out of it. But Andy just won't do that. And that's I think that feeds into what you're saying.
And just real quick here, Jeremy, there's a point to this. Who was the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts for the initial time? It was Tony Dungy, a defensive-minded head coach, right? Bill Belichick, a defensive-minded head coach. Andy Reid is an offensive-minded head coach. He's in control of the offense and what happens on the plays. I'm not saying that Patrick shouldn't be having the ability to change plays within the plays, and this is something I talk about a lot. He should be afforded the opportunity to check in and out of whatever plays he wants to. I don't think he has that. I don't believe he has that control. And I don't know for sure. That's more of a theory on my part. I just don't believe that he has that control.
Yeah, that's fair. I would love to be in the room
Yeah.
for these conversations because that would be some fun stuff. Mike, I hope you're doing well, buddy. Are you worried about the field conditions for Chiefs week 1 in Brazil? Field was trash in last year's game. Can the NFLPA pressure the league into improvements? They can pressure the league all they want. It's the local grass growers and the groundskeepers that you got to pressure. And when I say pressure, I mean pay off.
Yeah.
Sorry, that's the truth. I mean, that's the way it works. And has that been confirmed? I have not been on social today. I've been slammed at work, but
I try to avoid all of this as much as I possibly can because I can't stand the leaks. I can't stand it. I want that all dropped on once. I really can't stand these first 2 days where we see nonsense. I don't think it's been confirmed by any real source. I've seen leaks, I think, of this, but I have not seen a confirmation of it.
Okay.
Personally.
Well, Mike, you certainly have a legitimate concern if it is in Brazil. But I think there will be more pressure, especially after the Mexico City stuff, which generally I think is probably more apt to be better maintained. Now, soccer's huge in both countries.
Yeah.
But with everything with the Olympics down there before and all the trouble they had, I just have trouble seeing it. So I think it's going to take NFL money to get the field right. And maybe they do that. Maybe they understand what they're putting on the field has to come out with a safe result. I mean, no more risk than a normal game, I guess is what I'm saying. Not that it has to be super safe. You know how it works. Another one from Mike. A lot of good rookies and second-year talent in the AFC South and the NFC East the Chiefs will face. What's a good record for the Chiefs should have in those 8 games? Well, I mean, it's still those 2 divisions. You could see losing to the Commanders, right? If they're really taking a step forward, you could see it, right? You could see losing to the Texans. If everything they've done helps Stroud, maybe, right? I don't see anybody else in either of those divisions that I'm worried about.
So, I don't think that the NFC East is very good. I think that we've seen exactly what they are over the past couple seasons. I could see the Chiefs losing to the Bucks. Like I could see it. Like I could see the Bucks losing, beating the Chiefs again because they almost did last year, and I think that they're going to be a bit better than they were last year. But AFC South again, I know what you're talking about, but
Yeah.
he went
Totally blanked him
NFC
out.
West.
I'm in
He
denial
went
still.
NFC West.
Yeah. The Super Bowl champ is in the NFC East. Sorry, my fault, guys. I forgot the Eagles. My fault.
Maybe I'm thinking of the wrong thing, but yeah, I was. I absolutely was. I had the wrong division completely. But yeah, I could see the Chiefs losing to the Eagles. I could see the Chiefs losing to the Commanders. I could see the Chiefs losing to the Texans, but like a very, very, very like minuscule amount. That's what I did, FLDB. That's what I did right there. I went south.
Yeah. Yep.
I did. That's my bad.
And honestly, my whole thing was I'm just laughing at the Cowboys all the way home. So that's why I was like, oh, nobody scares me.
It wouldn't. I mean, I'll be honest. It wouldn't shock me if they lost to the Cowboys. It wouldn't, because I'm still a very big Dak supporter. I actually like the move to trade for George Pickens. I think it makes a lot of sense for the combination. And if you guys missed it, my buddy and I, Damien, had our very first podcast of the Scouting Room drop over the weekend, where we talked exclusively about, Derek Carr's retirement, this trade between the Steelers and the Cowboys. But I think overall it makes sense for them. But it wouldn't surprise me if they did. I don't think they would, and then they will. But I only really see 3 games that the Chiefs realistically could be a toss-up for me in terms of losing. I think that the Texans will be that good. Again, I think that they're probably a tier down from the Commanders and the Eagles, though, in my mind.
Agreed. And I just chuckle at a lot of the teams.
Yeah.
So what's a good record for those 8 games? I'm going to say they go 6-2, and I'm pretty happy with that. I predicted 4 losses last year, and I was pleasantly surprised, right? Like, do I want Jackson Dart to be able to go off? Do I want to prove everyone wrong because I felt he was the second best quarterback in this group? Yes. That doesn't mean the Giants are going to beat the Chiefs, though. So, like, I can't be crazy. But there's limits.
There's a 0% chance that Jackson Dart beats the Chiefs. There's a 0% chance. I'll tell you right now, in May, 0% chance.
Agreed. You'll get no argument from me. Like, I like the kid. I want him to do well, but that ain't happening. The RB Smith requested number 0 and 00, and he was denied. Reports are that it's a rule directly from the Hunts. Why and thoughts? I had not heard any of that, and I don't know why. Maybe he just doesn't like the look. But hey, if Clark Hunt says no, I couldn't care less. Sorry, kid.
I think it's a dumb rule, but if that is true, that's pretty dumb. Let them wear what they want to wear.
Who's wearing 20 now? 30 got assigned, right? Is 40 available? I mean, if you want to wear a 0, wear a 0. But honestly, I don't know. The 0 thing and the whole anybody can wear a single digit thing, that's cool for the players. I don't really care. I mean, I think it's all just kind of trendy more than meaningful. But honestly, I would not want. I'd be jealous of wearing 1, not 0. But
no, Williams is wearing 20.
No Williams is wearing 20. Okay, gotcha.
Speaking of No Williams, Wednesday, everybody, we got the film room dropping of No Williams. Nice. Gosh, I can't wait.
That's going to be good. I'm looking forward to that as well. I have a piece for you tomorrow about what I think a lot of Kansas City is overlooking, and that is who's going to be Chris Jones's running partner. I'm going to run it all down for you tomorrow. That's already set to go, so don't miss tomorrow's either. Steve, thank you, buddy. Another member question. Cheers to you. How do you expect the wide receiver battles between last year's practice squad players and this year's UDFA wide receivers to play out? That is a great one. And I'm going to pull up the depth chart right now just because I think we need to know everyone that we're talking about. And I honestly, there's too many for me to keep track of at this moment. That's the way that I roll. So
when there's 90 guys on a roster, it's hard to keep track.
Right? It just becomes a chore. So let me pull it up and I will share with everyone. And we'll go down because I think there are a couple of interesting ones that could be battles, to be honest.
Yeah.
Let's get that. We'll try the one where it's like This guy. If I actually share the dang thing. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay. So specifically, last year's practice squatters means Justin Ross, not Jalen Rolls, Tyquan Thornton. I'm going to count Remigio in that. He did get elevated later in the season, but he was practice squatter for most of the season. Brownlee. Those are the guys from last year. Then you have Badger, Mac, Jimmy Holiday. I thought there was one other, and I'm going to double check that on another tab here. But what do you think of those battles?
Honestly, I think the only guy safe in terms of I expect to be in the running for back end of the roster or a practice squad spot is Nico Remigio from the returning guys. I like Brownlee, but I don't think the Chiefs want that type of receiver on the roster. They've had multiple chances to bring in a 6'3", 220-pound plus guy, and they've pretty much Justin Ross is there too. Like he's going to be on the practice squad probably at best, if not. He's not going to be. I actually don't think he's going to be on the practice squad either. I think Elijah Badger is the guy that's not only going to be making a run for. He's probably not going to make the roster either, but he's a guy that I'm excited to watch. So I think that out of the guys that I want to see mostly as the practice squad guys from the UDFAs this year, Badger is the first one, and I'm very interested in what Jimmy Holiday is going to bring out of Louisiana Tech. I mean, I know he's 23 years old, but again, the same type of stylistic player like a Rashee Rice in terms of 6'1", 200 plus pounds, where you might see him try to be more of that power slot type of role in this offense. But overall, I think that Badger, Holiday are going to have a decent shot to make the practice squad this year.
Yeah, I have to think so as well. I feel like the guy that I'm most hopeful in, because I've seen him do a few things, is Thornton. I think he still has upside. I think he could fit in and do something, but it's about ingesting the playbook and about the ability to be where your quarterback wants you. And I don't know him personally well enough to say he can go do what Mahomes wants him to. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm just kind of, I was always out on Tyquan Thornton. I was just never a guy. Watching him out of Baylor, he was a one-trick pony for me. I never really got on board with that. And then the Patriots went and drafted him in the second round, and I was like, okay, that's Bill Belichick for you. But again, speed is always something they're going to give second chances, and he has speed for days. So we'll see.
And thirds and fourths, God knows what else. Lee, thank you. And thank you, Steve. Appreciate you. Have all the Chiefs rookies been signed? Any rumors about Tracy Smith contract? I don't think they've all signed. I thought I saw announcements on Josh and Omar and Ashton. And I want to say Smith, but I'm not 100%.
Yeah, I haven't seen all of them be signed yet. I don't think we've seen either of the defensive linemen get their contracts. Maybe I'm wrong on that, but we're just kind of waiting. Waiting and see.
And that brings us to the big question. What's going on with Trey Smith? And I had hoped that at this point, they don't have to be in. The vets have, 2 weeks more? Something like that? 10 days,
I think
2
so,
weeks
yeah.
before they have to show up? I had hoped by now we'd start hearing whispers about, they're talking, whatever. If you guys missed it, Trey Henderson put out a statement today about how the Bengals have been shut down. Like they ain't talking to me. Like, I don't think it's that bad, but I had hoped to have something on the positive side of Trey Smith by now. And the fact that they don't, bothers me about could there be growing animosity? There could be. I hope not.
Yeah.
I think that's the wrong way to play it. But even beyond that, I think that's overcomable. We're able to be overcome, however you're supposed to say that. I think the bigger thing is I need some cap space from him. You got to sign him so you can get his damn number down. And that's what I'm having trouble fathoming right now.
Yeah, and you guys, that I was very worried after their language went from we are very optimistic about getting this done to we hope to get things done. That's never a good sign when they talk about that in the regards of we're very optimistic to we hope. When you have a guy on a 1-year franchise tag, it's not a good situation to be in. You want to get, especially a young guy, you want him under contract. and you are forcing yourself onto me. Okay.
This is love, whether you like it or not. Let's go.
Love you, sweetie. Good night.
Bye.
Night, hon. I think, unfortunately, this is like one thing that isn't going to resolve itself overnight. I'm really, really hopeful that this doesn't turn into, hey, guess what? I'm not going to come the first week of OTAs. I'm going to stay out until like mandatory.
Please don't let this be a Chiefs Chris Jones situation. Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah. It's difficult. And I know from his perspective, he got drafted a lot lower than he wanted to, than he expected to. And while he's eternally grateful for what he's been able to do here and the team that took him, he also feels like he probably has some monetary stuff to make up for, to catch back up for. So I can understand that.
Oh, Chris. Speaking as somebody who watches the Red Wings every year drop in the lottery, where there's less than 10% chance to drop in the NHL lottery, every single year of the lottery, they've dropped. Every year. They've never gone up. They've never won it. They've only ever dropped.
Damn.
Because the NHL is rigged against the Wings, and I can see this happening. The simple fact of the matter is there is no way that a team that should have gotten into the play-in should win the lottery. No chance.
Crazy.
No chance. They are trying to bail out Nico Harrison for making one of the worst trades ever. And I don't care if Luka can't play defense. Anthony Davis is a great player, but he immediately got hurt.
I love that you know this stuff, because I'm just like, oh, look, that little league just did something. I don't pay any attention to that. The fact that you would put a lottery system in, that just drives me insane. This is why the haves have.
The lottery is the worst idea because it doesn't stop tanking. Teams don't stop tanking if they're going to tank. And by the way, people that want to implement it in the NFL, teams don't tank. They don't. We just saw the Lovie Smith take away a pick from the team that he was coaching, then got fired the next day. We just watched the Patriots lose the number 1 overall pick because they beat the Bills at the end of the year. These teams don't tank. They don't do it. The lottery is supposed to prevent tanking, but it doesn't. And it's inherently bad for the product. If the teams that are awful, that are legitimately bad, get the 6th and 7th picks every single year, no one is getting better. And it's just continuing to produce ungrateful fans that think it's rigged, and all you're doing is worsening your product. The NBA is awful as it is. It stands anyway. The lottery makes it worse.
It's too bad. It's too bad, because I remember the days when it was actually good. They got to figure that out. Kev, thank you. And thank you, Chris Anderson. Who's the best in short area quickness and shiftiness? Antonio Brown, Tyreek, or Edelman? Also, does Nick Chubb have any juice left? Well, by statistics alone, on the athletic matrix, Edelman actually beat out Tyreek and changed the direction, the short area quickness score, by just a minuscule hair. And that was mostly because of his short shuttle, not his 3-cone. So especially when you're talking about whip routes or the little hard cuts that he was able to do, Tyreek can do a ton of them, but Tyreek's always gaining distance as well. So like his score didn't come out quite the same. Theoretically, that's the way it comes out. Honestly, on the field, I don't think you could really differentiate. They're both going to get loose no matter what you try to do.
The big difference for this is Tyreek was explosive in the movements, and he generated forward progress. And Edelman was great at making guys miss laterally and then getting into space. Tyreek, it didn't matter. We all saw the stop, start, jump, back, forth, left, right. Edelman couldn't do that. He couldn't do that. And Antonio Brown was probably to the level of Edelman in the sense where he was also doing more of the lateral stuff and not necessarily the explosivity. Antonio Brown wasn't an explosive short area player. He was just very quick. So I would side with Tyreek Hill. And I don't know if Nick Chubb has any juice left. I don't know, because he got hurt, and we've seen his workout stuff, which is what everyone wants to see, what coming back. In this running back room, I would give him a shot. I would do it.
I absolutely would. What do we always say? The second you're back from an ACL is better than the first. Why in the hell wouldn't it be from an injury like that? Like,
Yeah.
I would easily bring him in tomorrow. Come check it out. I would love to have him and Kareem in the same room again. And I will
That'd be
always
great.
give Nick Chubb an effort because he put up with everything his whole career. From just the way he was treated, the
Yep.
day he was drafted in the airport when he got there with Baker. Like, he's been mistreated his entire career. And that's only because you play for a crap organization that doesn't know how to get out of its own way. So I'd love to see him actually get something for it all and come to Kansas City. That's just my little
Agreed.
thing. Okay, I'm going to calm down now. Thank you, Kev. Appreciate you. Dirty P. It happens sometimes. I don't know what else to say, buddy. Looks like you've been holding it for a while with that avatar. That's all I can say. Oh, coming in late. Can you talk about Elijah Mitchell's role as you see it? Oh, you first.
His role is earn a spot on the roster because you don't have a solidified role. You don't have a solidified spot on the roster. If Brashard Smith can offer return stuff and the speed element as a healthy player in this offense that Elijah Mitchell was offering, he doesn't have much value. And again, it was a 1-year deal. So that's why we're talking about also bringing in Nick Chubb. There's no running backs on the roster next year. There's none.
Yeah,
There's Brashard Smith and Carson Steele. There aren't any. There aren't any. So at this point, you got to find a way to get players in house for the long term too. So Mitchell possibly, but you need to earn a spot before we're talking about roles, in my opinion.
Yeah, and you nailed my first thought. The first thing you said, you have to prove that you're healthy. I like his potential. He's got veteran experience. He can read defenses. He understands where blitzes are coming from. He's not the greatest pass blocker. He can get some functional things done, but he can't stay healthy and never has.
Yeah.
If he can, I think he stays ahead of Smith, and Smith is an understudy, so to speak. They might be both on the roster, to tell you the truth. But until you can see the explosiveness is back, which we don't even know, and that you can maintain it all the way through pads and everything else in camp, you're not on this team till you're on this team is basically the way I see it.
Agreed. I'm with you.
I'm crossing my fingers.
Super chat. Thank you, Dirty P, for the super chat there. Very much. Appreciate you.
Oh, we're still on basketball over here. Chris is like,
oh, yeah,
obsessed with basketball. Okay.
It's all good.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And of course, the Spurs get the number 2 overall pick. They're about to luck into another dynasty. So hopefully the stuff going on with the best one. Wembanyama is one of the craziest players I've ever seen. Just the lankiness. Everyone talks about Kevin Durant with his lankiness. This guy's different, a different breed. So they could be, and obviously they traded for De'Aaron Fox, who's going to be awesome with them as well. I just hope that this doesn't happen, because that's part of the problem, Chris, is if you keep creating the same teams at the top, but all they have to do is get lucky, but the teams that are consistently bad can't get lucky, we all know what's actually happening. The NBA wants certain teams in the limelight. They want the Mavericks, who made a mess of this whole offseason, now have Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, and now Cooper Flagg's going to be there. And now you have the Spurs with Wembanyama, De'Aaron Fox, and then the number 2 pick. It's like they're trying to force a narrative. So this isn't an NBA conversation place, but I, for whatever reason, have a ton of information that I shouldn't actually have, because I don't even watch the NBA because it's a boring product outside of the playoffs.
Play some defense and maybe I'll pay attention. That's all I can say. Bradley, it seems like we're playing. It's the Chargers week in week 1, and if we shut up the naysayers like Mark, former Broncos center, and Colin Cowherd. Colin Cowherd's a joke. Don't listen to anything he says. And Mark Schlereth, I will give Mark Schlereth some credit. Off camera, off microphone, he's actually fairly measured guy. I was on a plane with him not very long ago in my gear with arrowheads on it, and he actually sat and talked to me for a 2.5-hour flight and didn't get pissed and didn't ignore me because I was a Chiefs fan. So kudos to him.
I think Colin Cowherd's the same. I'll be honest. I've listened to his his own podcast and not just his show. I think he is as well. I think a lot of them behind the scenes are, but that's the problem with media, is that on the scenes, They have to be something that they're not, because this is the clickbait industry media we are a part of. And that's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
You guys know we try to give you our honest opinions. This is my personality. When I get fired up, I'm really just fired up. I'm not fake fired up. Like, this is for real. This is real stuff that
When we
we're
have
doing
beers,
here.
he's just like this.
Right? This is just who I am. So at the end of the day, that's why I think you see more like this, or what my buddy and I, Damien, are trying to build. Things where it's just real people talking about football, and it's not somebody with a screen telling you to say stuff that you don't even believe.
Yeah, it's a little sad when you get to that point, because you're just doing it to keep your dollars flowing. But I hope that we'll shut up everybody who's going to pick the Chargers to win the division, Bradley, because everyone's going to do it again, because,
speak of the devil,
right? Like, Doctor Who was like perfect in that timing. Thank you for being a member. I will just set this up for you. If the Chiefs News clickbait channel, I got you, had a headline that Hollywood Brown could be traded, is there any chance in the world of this ever happening? No, that's redonkulous. They are still salty about not having him last year because it delayed their plans an entire year. No, they will not trade him. He's not even worth trading. What's he on? Is it 8.5 this year? I got to look it up.
He's coming off back-to-back one-year deals. He got injured last year with the Chiefs. He got injured before that with the Cardinals, and he was injured playing for the Ravens. What team is going to trade for him?
It's $7 million.
Yeah, I don't understand.
Like, he would have to set himself on fire before they trade him.
Also, the Chiefs would have to take on like the majority of that contract for people to trade for him. A $7 million contract for a guy who just come off an injury. No, that place needs to go away. It's one of the worst things in this industry.
Yeah, that's just how hyping up people that are excited about Royals, who should be excited about Royals, doesn't make Hollywood expendable. Not anywhere close. Somebody's got to teach the kid, right?
Right.
Minotaur, thank you, buddy. And all the new members, thank you as well. You are a beast, as always. And we very much appreciate you, because it makes stuff like this even that much more fun. Thank you, Doctor Who. Didn't mean to cut you off, but yeah, don't worry about that. Not in the cards. Did y'all see Travis say that he already lost 25 pounds this offseason? I had not seen that. And if that's true, I'm a little concerned. Like, could he drop 10 or 15 and be a little more svelte in his pattern? Sure. 25? I don't know that he's bringing enough to the party here when he's hitting linebackers at this point.
There's a 0% chance, in my opinion, that he's lost 25 pounds. Simply because he was playing at like 250. Now, maybe last year he was a bit heavier. I will say, we all know the weight that comes on when you're in a happy relationship at times. He's with Taylor Swift. They're going around, they're eating a bunch of food. I get that. And we saw Travis was a little bit, a little bit heavier last year. He knew it. So I think 15 at most, because you have to remember, muscle has to be added too. Muscle has to be there, but also, how much is he going to lose in training camp? There's a process to this. You have to get into pre-camp shape to lose weight in training camp, to be in shape for the regular season. Everyone has to have a certain amount of weight they put on before the camp, because specifically you have to be ready to take those hits, right? So there's a certain amount of fat, certain amount of muscle you have to have on to be able to withstand some of those things. A lot of guys can't come in just 5% body fat. It's unhealthy anyway, and do that. You have to have a pretty decent amount of actual body fat to withstand and kind of act as a shock absorber in a sense, to take some of these hits.
Well, and I'll just take it in a personal direction too. He and his brother bought a brewery recently, right?
Right.
For him to lose 25 pounds, he would have had to stop drinking, and I just don't see that happening. I'm sorry. I can't. Kurt, nice to see you, dude. Hope you're doing good, man. Bradley, another one. If Joshua Simmons does well throughout the offseason and into training camp to become a starter, can he handle great rushers in the NFL? Absolutely. He has all the tools. Doesn't have a ton of experience. He'd hit a few speed bumps, but it's not like, playing at Ohio State, like he's never seen a pass rusher. I guarantee you that. But man, he's not going to become a starter this season unless there's a significant injury. He should be a guy that is at best a swing tackle and is waiting in the wings if something happens.
I want to go back to like the months before where everyone was saying it was unrealistic the Chiefs were going to take a tackle in the first round, and find my clip in like January talking about this all in February. I've been saying tackle, and then everyone's like, no, there's no way they should. Come on, it made too much sense. And yes, Josh Simmons can become a starter. There's a path. It's a very small path where he comes in to training camp fully ready to compete. It's a very small path. It's not something you expect, but if he is, I do believe he's talented enough to win a starting spot. But Patrick Mahomes was talented enough to be the starter when Alex Smith was the quarterback. I think that the Chiefs will go that route before they throw him into the starting role, even if he's ready to compete.
I agree with you, because you got to think of it this way. If their evaluation is correct, and if he progresses into what we all see that he can be, he's your left tackle for the next decade. And more importantly, for the remainder of Patrick Mahomes' career. And you can't risk that. And I think they have to play the long game here.
Yep. I'm with you.
FLDB would say that Patrick is overreading defenses. And I'm translating that statement into not saying F it enough. Remember back in the day, like second, third year when Andy was just like, they caught him on mic'd up. Just let it rip. He's got to get back to that as well. That only comes when you trust the guys down there that you're letting it rip too. And that's an evolution right now.
Yeah, and we've also kind of heard Patrick echo what Brett Veach said after the combine about he sometimes he's reading something that's not there. It happens a lot of times. That's what defenses are trying to do. They want to confuse guys. I don't think it's that Patrick can't read defenses. I think that sometimes he sees one thing and Andy's like, if you see this, you go this way. And that's overtaking some of the, but what if? Because that's the best part about Patrick. The what if, right? If I see this, but what if I can make this guy go over there? But what if, right? What if I can throw this through a nickel over that guy's shoulder? The what ifs of football, that it feels like Patrick has been kind of toned down from that, right? That's kind of how it feels.
Yeah, and I get that. He's going to throw another no look, and I think it'll all get right, but he's got to get out there on the edge a little bit. King, nice to see you, buddy. Could we see more 4 wide with Royals catches on quicker than Rice or Worthy did? I mean, they could. They have some of that, but you got to remember especially if Travis has lost that much weight, that means they're looking to use Travis as more of the wide out, and especially back to the 3x1s. I think 3x1s will work again, especially if you're pressing those deep zones. If they're going to play traditional 4, press them with 3 receivers. Make the safeties make a choice. You're going to have options underneath if that's the way that you do it. So I think that could work. I also feel like Juju's going to be a part of that. I don't think it necessarily has to be because of Royals, but I think it could be. There's no reason not to think it couldn't be.
I don't know if we're going to see many 4 wide receiver sets just because that's not how the way the Chiefs play. It's 13, 12, 11. Even as when they could have gone pony personnel, which is 2 running backs on the field, they didn't lean into it, and they don't lean into it. So again, Andy, just come here, Andy. Break tendency a little bit. Just a little bit. Give me something else. Give me little pony sets. Give me 4 tight ends on the field more than once throughout the season. Give me 5 wide receivers. You got 5 on the bench. Put all 5 in the game. Break tendency a little bit. Run a little bit of duo. Just do something different that every NFL team hasn't seen you run 1 billion times. Please.
Sorry, that's what I'm doing when I'm off camera. It's like straight out of my head. Thank you, King. Razgriz, nice to see you, buddy. What do you guys think about the UDFA Glendon Miller? Didn't see him pre. Gonna have to see him post. That's all I got.
Got nothing. I'm sorry, Raz. I do apologize. I don't get eyes on everybody, and especially guys that are UDFAs. There's a very slim chance that I've even seen them.
Yeah, and I didn't put in a lot of time, particularly on that school. So
fair.
When you don't have a number of prospects, it's difficult. Addicted to Captain, thanks for being a member. Nice to see you. Looking ahead to 2026, if nothing is done about the interior defensive line this year, would that become our first priority in next year's draft? Thanks for all that you do. That's a great question because I'm going to talk about what they need to do now tomorrow, so don't miss that one. But if they don't, if it's status quo, if they get through this season and Chris is Chris and whoever's next to Chris is whoever's next to Chris and it's just an absolute rotation, to me, you have to look at next year's free agency, which includes like every running back. And you have to look at the corner situation. Those are the only two that I could see really pushing that. And obviously, I don't feel like running back's worth changing that. So I would say it's a fair prospect for that to happen.
The Chiefs are going to put themselves in the position to take the best position available wherever they're picking. And it might be defense tackle. It probably won't be. Because we know they value corner, wide receiver, defensive end, and tackle. If they have someone on their board in those four position groups that's high on their board where they're drafting, they're probably going to lean there, unless by some happenstance a defense tackle that they have like a top 10 grade on is falling to where they might be able to trade up. That might be the only situation where I think that happens.
Let me give you one other idea here. Zach Allen, DJ Reader, Draymond Jones, Daquan Jones, Sheldon Rankins, Shelby Harris, obviously the young guys, Levi, Greg Gaines. They'll all be free agents next offseason.
That's true.
They might just try to patch the hole, right?
Hopefully.
Knock on wood. Thank you, Addicted. John, thank you, buddy. Nice to see you. If an undrafted guy contributes a lot this year, who would excite you? Not likely, though. Yeah, that's true. But who would be exciting to see?
It's Jake Brittingstool. It's Jake. It's the guy that could be the Kelsey heir apparent. And I know that's a lot of hyperbole in those, but I'm telling you, if it doesn't happen, it's because I don't really know. I don't really know what happened that would make him not be a decent receiving tight end in the NFL. I don't know what would be the process. Like, I don't know why he wasn't drafted, but that excites me. I want to see him catch some like 15, 20-yard seam routes. He can do that. He can go get the football. He's a guy that you just put it on the shoulder, let him adjust to it, and he can do that. So that would excite me a lot.
And I'll tell you what I'll do with him now. We'll probably talk X's and O's when we get closer to camp, everybody. But
yeah.
You remember those little stacks they used to do with Ross Travis and Travis?
Yes.
And those guys are buds to this day, right? Because if you are the other guy in a stack with Travis Kelce, you're going to be open. That's the way that's going to happen. So there's plenty of opportunity, and I would love to see that personally. That's what I would be doing. Thanks, John. Alex, thank you, buddy.
Thank you.
Almost 3 years. You are crushing it, brother. And you're keeping us going. We very much appreciate you. Do you think Kelce plays one more if they win this Super Bowl?
No.
He's
going out on top.
This is it?
He'll go on top. Yeah.
Okay, so let me flip it. If they get close and they lose it again, will he be stubborn enough to come back one more time?
No. If they get blown out, maybe. But then we have a whole different conversation on our hands about the Kansas City Chiefs and playing in the Super Bowls. If they win, they have to come back. And if they don't, they get absolutely doors blown off. And we don't want to have that conversation. So, no, I think I truly believe this is the last year of Travis Kelce.
I don't have a damn clue. So I'm going with your answer. Jeremy, crazy how I've watched this girl grow up, Dan. Growing like a weed. It is nuts.
You're telling me, dude. And this is, again, I've been in the house with her, and it doesn't, time just does not stop. It keeps going. And the insane things that happen. She's finally figuring out how to whistle. Like, she's been practicing all day for the past 3 days, and she's finally gotten a couple of them out. But as you all know, that's a lot of noise. But still, yeah,
It's good to be a dad.
and that's part of the reason why I bring her on, so that we can all kind of see
It's going to be a
how
chronicling.
crazy things happen.
Right. She's going to be driving next week. Jeremy, those were called the Jordan years. Yes, they absolutely were. And
boom.
If you guys remember my ode to the Jordan years, you can grab this.
Yeah, you can.
I'm not subtle, I swear. I steal good ideas. I'll just make them my own. But congrats on the new pod. Absolutely.
Thank you,
nice to
William.
see you, Will.
Appreciate
Good to see it. Yeah, everybody go get subbed over there. Is there an easy one? I can't remember. Is it Scouting Room?
Yeah, it's the Scouting Room on YouTube. That's it.
Go get subbed. Go get subbed. Raven, guys, please tell me which God I need to pray to. I would like the Chiefs to spear away Hendrickson from the Bengals, any way, shape, or form. If you want to get Hendrickson away from the Bengals without waiting, because they're going to let him go, clearly. But if you don't want to wait, it's not God you need to talk to. It's the other end.
There is one. But this would require some things that nobody wants to sacrifice. It's called Father Time. If we could have D Ford not line up offside, Bob Sutton would still be the defensive coordinator, and he would go get Trey Hendrickson, because that's the kind of player that he wants to have. Steve Spagnuolo spits on defensive ends that are speed rushers. He spits on them.
Why do you hate me? Damn it. I can't argue, though. In your opinion, do the Chiefs get better this offseason for the upcoming year, or do we just get younger with potential to be better next year?
I like this question, Kel, because I think they've done both. But the floor has risen a little bit, I think, for this specific team. Now, you lose Joe, which impacts that floor a bit as well, the interior floor. But I think you got better at tackle. I think you got deeper at tackle. I think you've also given yourself the chance to become a legitimate dynasty. You can win now, yeah, but you've given yourself let's imagine Jalen Royals, Rashee Rice, and Xavier Worthy all on this team for the next 5-6 years. Those are 3 young players that the Chiefs have drafted. Again, we have to wait to see on Royals. But you're probably going to have to pay Rashee Rice a good amount of money, and Xavier Worthy as well. But again, there's 4 years left on that contract for Xavier, 2 years on Rashee Rice's. Okay? He comes up first. So Royals, and yeah, exactly. Like, this is a good situation to be in. I think the floor has risen a bit. You lose some of the good veterans. You bring in some decent young players as well. So the floor maybe has gone a little bit. The ceiling has gotten much bigger, though, in my opinion. And yes, Rez. Yeah. Again, he was top 50 player for me. Jalen Rose was a top 50 player on my board. And I have tweets. I have 2 of them. Multiple, actually. I would have drafted Jalen Royals over any receiver not named Travis Hunter and Tedero McMillan. I would have done it, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it.
Even my guy, Buka? Really?
Even Nick Buka. Yes.
Ooh. That's why I'm glad we don't always agree. See, folks, we disagree sometimes. It happens. It's real. Mr. James, nice to see you, Mr. Mayor. According to the Star, the Chiefs are playing the Broncos on Christmas night at 7:15. Does anyone hate this as much as me? I don't want to work on Christmas night. I know the players don't.
So this seems like a happy medium for the players. They have to play on Christmas anyway. You give them the entire day with their kids and their family.
Okay.
Christmas is a morning to afternoon ritual for a lot of people, and usually Christmas dinner is before. Now, that's not for every family, obviously. It feels like they're trying to find a way to let some of these teams and the Chiefs and the Broncos players get more time with their family early on Christmas Day. Does that mean this is a great situation? No. Stop having games on Christmas.
The NBA do it. They already suck. Oh, sorry. Did I say that out loud? Sorry, NBA fans. Oh, Mr. Mayor, thank you for letting us know, though.
Thank you.
I guess we'll just deal with it, won't we? So this is what happens when you're the national team. Everybody wants to see you, and they want to put you in every spotlight that they can put. We will get through, Kingdom. We will get through.
Yeah, we will.
Dub Freak, appreciate you, buddy. Hope you're
Thank
doing
you,
well. We are doing well, even though Andy has proven that he is stubborn about our run game. I hope Smith proves to be productive. I don't understand why we didn't go for a more traditional premium back. And I can understand where you're coming from. I think there were players available in the earlier on day 3, fourth in particular, that could have been a little bit more of a bell cow. But what do they need? They need somebody to change the tempo. They need somebody to change the room, right? Bell cow doesn't necessarily mean that you can break tackles. And if you're not going to be a speed guy that diverts tackles, you have to break them, right? And I don't feel like they felt that was the investment they needed to make. So they went speed. They want to see a little bit of the old Charles days when somebody can hit the corner and actually run away from a defense.
They want to see Damian Williams. That's what they're looking for. They're looking for Damian Williams. Damian Williams could be Brashard Smith. That could legitimately be his upside in this offense. I would not be shocked. I'm not talking about Jamal Charles, I'm talking about Damian Williams. If we set the bar there, talking about a legitimately good running back in a really good system. The Chiefs are never going to force a pick based on need. They've done it before, and it didn't work out. McCole Hardman. No offense, McCole. You had your moments, and I appreciate you. Yeah, they have put themselves in binds and forced themselves into picks, and it's never worked out. You do not draft for need. You draft best player on your board. It doesn't matter the position. Now, and the Chiefs on day 3, Jalen Rose sitting there and looking them in the face, and they said, we can't not draft him. Jeffrey Bassa was sitting there looking them in the face. We can't not draft him. Things happen.
Yeah. And I'm going to tell you right now, from everybody that I've talked to that's seen these practices, Jeff Bassa's LB4 right now.
Yep. As he should be. And he should be.
Done. Yeah. Nothing against Jack or my guy Cam. I still like Cam. Bassa's ready. Like walked in, ready to play.
And that's why I had a day 2 grade on him.
Yep. You and me both. I think you were a little higher on him than me, so kudos to you. But yeah, that's how it happens.
She probably did too.
Yeah, absolutely. Bradley, what comes to contracts about Trey Smith? Just wait and see. And when it comes, Trey Hendrickson, I do not want him on the team because they played for the Mongols, and I hate them. That's fair. That's all right. Hendrickson has proven to be I think, the outlier in the normal arm length speed curve kind of thing.
Yes.
So kudos to him. I hope that he keeps trucking. I'll be glad that he's not in Cincinnati either. We answered this one as well. Sorry, I'm not doing a very good job here, Dan. Got flustered here at the end. Dubford, thanks again, dude. Also want to be clear that I did love the draft. I just find it frustrating to seeing us neglect the run game and not get a dude like rookie Kareem, and that's absolutely fair. But again, it's Andy. I think honestly, I think Andy feels the Clyde selection more than Brett Veach does.
You're probably right, and I wouldn't be shocked at all. I mean, Andy came out praising the kid.
Yeah,
I think that the problem with this is that they're putting too much on their own selves. What happened with Clyde was not all their fault. Right here, Clyde wasn't right. If you can't be mentally in the game, you're not going to be able to reach your full potential. Do I think that he was deserving of a first-round pick? No, I don't. Was he my RB1? Yes. Would I have drafted him in the first round? No. I wouldn't have drafted anybody in the first round in the draft, regardless. Not even Jonathan Taylor.
Yeah.
The problem is that you're feeling the effects of this because they drafted him in the first round and because something happened in his past that mentally affected his future. You can't put yourself through that. I think Andy's, like Ryan has said, is putting too much on that situation. It's not all his fault.
Yeah, I agree. But to Doug Freak's point, I also would like to see the run game get more attention and get used in a better way. There are West Coast offenses that have adapted it. Andy does have enough example to pull in. If you remember the Mike Holmgren years, they did run the ball more than Andy does. So
Yeah.
there is precedent for it. And I would like to see Andy go back to the well a little bit when it comes to the run.
Yeah.
Alex, unpopular opinion. MVS could have helped us during the Super Bowl last year. He might not have helped you get there, but he might have helped you that day. That's for sure. He has tendencies.
I'm going to plead the fifth here, Alex. Sorry. I appreciate you. Appreciate the question. Appreciate you being here. I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
Last one, folks. If you want any of the gear, including the goats, go get it in the store. It's down below. And the new stuff is just about here, waiting on the last couple of things. Every offseason since Tyreek left, I've heard Mahomes say that we are getting back to the deep ball. So far, no results. Do you think that changes this season? Crimson, this is a great question. And I'm going to leave it for Dan.
Oh, that's fantastic. Thank you. So, again, I kind of talked about this earlier. Unless they are willing to accept the inherent risk in throwing the football against two high safeties down the middles and the outsides of the field, they won't do it. And if you don't do it enough, if you don't let Pat rip it enough, it's not going to be consistent when he does. We've seen it firsthand. Now, I think that the players being in the spot that he expects them to be will change for the better this year. Does that mean it's going to translate to more deep ball action? No. Do I want it to? Of course, you guys know we all do. We all want to see it back. I will say, if the offensive line plays up to standard, then I think that there's a very good possibility that it does. Maybe not to the 2018 role. Obviously, that's not coming back, but an effective deep passing game.
I hope that it can. I'm certainly rooting for it. We will walk you every step of the way, and we'll answer all your questions every Monday night, all year. We might skip a holiday and go to a Tuesday, so just be prepared for that. But we're going to be with you.
Yeah.
Hope you guys will be with us. We have a ton of stuff coming as we get ready for this season. Tomorrow, my rant goes up about what they have to do next. Dan has Noah Wiley. Wow. I just started watching ER again or something. I don't know. Or The Pit, I guess is what it is. He has Noah Williams coming on Wednesday, and Gary will be back as well. Gary's video did go up late last week, and that's because of me, folks. So for those of you that are complaining about him, that's on me. It's one of those times a year where I let something get away from me. Don't worry. We're still going to have content for you the whole way. We appreciate you very much, Dan. Squeeze a little one for us, and I hope everybody has a good night over there.
Yeah, of course. Everyone over there on your side and everybody here, thank you for being here tonight. We appreciate the questions every Monday and all of the support you guys consistently give us. Looking forward to having more film reviews as we get closer and closer to the training camp season.
Absolutely. It's almost here. Have a great night. We'll catch you tomorrow.
Thanks for watching this video from the team at RGR Football. Click these videos to see more and subscribe to RGR Football.